think my girlfriend is having second thoughts about booking with Spirit Airlines, but I'm sure she'll be fine. On today's episode, we track everything we kill in our playthrough of the House of the Dead remake on Switch. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Having never played the arcade version, I feel I have a lot to learn. After the deep lore drop and some general loading screen life advice, there are a lot of paths you can choose. It opens outside a mansion where people are being viciously mauled by monsters. My girlfriend Sophie is whisked away, forcing me to fight my way to the entrance while rescuing any scientists I see. With perhaps the most unnecessary pistol flip in history, we finally bust our way inside. Shooting axes out of the air is hilarious fun, and after corridor crawling through dozens of enemies, we reunite with dear Sophie, who is immediately slapped into oblivion before we fight the first boss. I know people complain that games are too obvious about highlighting enemy weaknesses or explicitly telling you the solutions to puzzles, but I love that there is a literal diagram of the boss's weakness before fighting him. He goes down easy enough, and as my girlfriend passes along her dying wish, the game reminds me not to shoot her. Chapter 2: Revenge. Fat man throwing an oil drum which you can shoot out of the air with a pistol? Love it. I'm slowly picking up on the idea that you should always be shooting, even if there's no enemies on screen. You never know what goodies you can find by breaking objects or what alternate paths will open up. The level ends with a fight against Spirit Airlines, who is more mobile than the first boss. Defeating his bat minions is easy enough, but then he darts all over the sky and is much harder to track. Upon his death, we are treated to more life advice. Your actions will determine the path you will be going along. Chapter 3: Truth. Okay, I truly don't understand the floor plan of this compound. It is insane. I love the enemy design of these guys, but of course it wouldn't be a horror game without spiders. These aren't so bad, they're kinda small. Oh, scratch that, this is terrifying. Despite its appearance, it's an easy fight. Chapter 4: The House of the Dead. They said the thing. This level is mostly a boss gauntlet leading up to the final encounter. I had no issues fighting the bosses again, but the magician gave me fits. I couldn't figure out his weak point, and I died so many times that I ran out of points to redeem for lives and had to restart the campaign. Surprisingly, I wasn't mad. It took me a little over 30 minutes to reach the final boss, so it didn't feel like a huge loss to start over. Before starting again, I checked out the enemy gallery and learned where the weak points of most enemies are, which was helpful and one of the only times I've ever looked at or found this feature in a game useful. Powered up with my wealth of experience and newfound knowledge, I blasted back through the campaign, this time with modern scoring. Ooh, spooky. My biggest discovery this time around was finding out that shooting enemies after they die increases the points you gain, and more points equals more gooder, so I did a lot of that. After breezing through the levels, I got my revenge against the final boss, before witnessing more cinema.
Everything is over. I have nothing more to lose. However, I must go on.
So, how many monsters did we vanquish across our 2-ish playthroughs of the campaign? In total, we killed 41 Bentleys, 15 Bourbons, 3 Buills, 36 Cyrils, 3 Chariots, 7 Burners, 64 Devlons, 6 Drakes, 8 Ebaton A's, 6 Gilmores, 13 Ebaton B's, 4 Hangedmans, 17 Harrises, 2 Hermits, 11 Kagios, 2 Hanzus, 3 Ivans, 26 Moody's, 1 Magician, 3 Kenfis, 26 Mirrors, 27 Neils, 14 Rubens, 21 Roberts, 16 Parlors, 29 Sams, 11 Samsons, 8 Sarazus, 8 Larrys, 12 Simons, 1 Sean, 15 Thalongs, 3 Vincents, and 1 Scientist. Sorry about that, bud. but at least I got an achievement for it, bringing the final tally to 463. Of the 24 games we've played, this is near the middle of the pack between Donkey Kong Country and Super Mario Bros. 3. Nice to know that family-friendly Mario still kills more creatures than our gun-toting hero. Having never played the original, I don't feel qualified to offer much of an opinion on this version, but for what it's worth, here's what I think. For the first time ever, I played through an entire game with split Joy-Cons and gyro controls, while also having the left stick control my crosshairs. If I was going to replay it, I would adjust the sensitivity a little bit, but other than that, it was pretty flawless. For being such a short game, the enemy variety is good, and their different weak points made you think more than simply trying to get headshots. The voice acting is comically bad, which fits well with the campy vibes of the game. Perhaps my favorite aspect is that it always felt tense. You never knew when enemies would bust through a window or drop from the ceiling, forcing you to react quickly. Add the different paths to take in each level, and I never felt safe, which is good in this style of game. Being able to redeem points for more lives is a generous system for a new player like me, and I think in split-screen co-op I would have had even more fun. It's hard to know how to critique a port of an arcade game, but House of the Dead has a few issues. The frame rate at times felt inconsistent, which is disappointing for such an old game. And while I enjoyed the gyro aiming, I could see how someone used to holding a light gun would be disappointed using a tiny Joy-Con instead. After an hour of playing, my hands were cramping from using the tiny controllers, which has never happened to me before. Based on the in-game statistics, there are multiple weapons to find, but I used the default pistol the entire campaign. I wish I had found at least one of these weapons, but maybe going back and trying to find them is part of the charm of repeat playthroughs. Ultimately, I got my $6 worth of fun in the hour it took me to play through the game, but I certainly wouldn't buy it at its full price. I haven't tried the included Horde mode, which to my understanding, adds a lot more enemies to each level. At the end of the day, it's a fine game that I'm happy to have played, but don't see myself coming back to very often. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.